the end of the year. A big game here for HyuN.
All right, well, this best of three is now about to begin between Polt and HyuN to find out who is going to move on in second place in Group A, as we have Spawn down to the bottom left-hand corner. It is Polt, representing CM Storm. Looking good against Hero, but was pipped at the post. And then up to the top right-hand corner, we have HyuN, representing Roccat. And again, pipped at the post by Hero.
Yeah, and Hero rightfully claiming his first place position in this group, but comes down to who's going to grab second. This map doesn't really favor any Zerg versus Terran type of style. We don't see, okay, this is Expedition Lost, this is the type of match we're going to see. We should see a regular setup if they choose to play a normal macro game. Unless we could see some type of, you know, roach bailing bust because it's not that big of a map, some things like this, but nothing drastic when it comes to the two strategies they can choose from.
Yeah, it's not too bad a defensible ramp on the natural, at least. So you are able, as a Terran, to be able to wall off things nicely and try and hold down at the front. But you've always got to be considerate of the wide expanses of this map. It's very, very open in big sections as you traverse across it. So you've definitely got to be careful as a Terran once it gets to the later stages, especially if HyuN is on top of his creep spread, which sometimes he does let flop. He's not exactly known for immaculate creep spread, so that's something I'll have to look out for. Something
that's not been very common in the Korean StarCraft scene recently is Reaper expansions. They've actually become less and less out there because the Reaper doesn't really see anything that could change the pace of the game. We see a lot more command center first, or just skipping the Reaper in general and getting a faster reactor. Something that Polt is playing more of a European and American style right now.
Well, HyuN opting for hatchery into pool behind all of this. And again, as you mentioned before, at the very beginning of this, they undoubtedly know each other so well. They've played a lot, they've probably seen a lot of each other's games. They've probably had to study each other's games quite a lot because they have been in the same region so fiercely. So whether or not that will come into play, we'll see. Being on the new maps here, I'm very interested to see what both players are going to pull out, because these maps are pretty different to what we've seen in the previous season.
HyuN is taking this gas here pretty fast after his spawning pool. Opens up the options to get that Zergling speed very early on, and also could push him towards some type of aggressive play. If he hadn't have taken this, it would have been very queen heavy, very mineral heavy, and very economy focused. But this does give us maybe the possibility of seeing this type of roach bailing attack to win the game early.
And behind all of that, Polt is just grabbing himself a command center. 6 Lings are going to be out in just a bit to be able to fend off this Reaper, and then eventually buy the time for the Queens to be able to push that away. But at least HyuN has been able to spot that command center pretty early with the Overlord, so that's a nice pickup at least.
Yeah, he sees the command center, he knows that this is just a regular Reaper expansion. Hellions are the next choice of unit out for Polt to continue his harassment.
Yeah, that Reaper's just going to have to stick around this little ledge and dance around for a little bit, as, again, buying time for the Queens to get out. That will shut down that pretty much. And with the faction behind this, Apollo, what are you expecting really from Polt to transition into forwards to put on a little bit more harassment?
Usually Polt likes to get a fast starport, to get a fast Viking out, to hide what he's up to, and then can choose from different types of aggressive pushes or just the regular third command center. But he does like to mask his play with that Viking.
Interestingly enough, HyuN's Overlord positioning isn't exactly what I was expecting of it. He didn't send his second Overlord aggressively over to the left-hand side to try and spot things out. It's only the one down towards the natural that is lurking. The other ones are positioned on the perimeter to keep him very, very defensive.
Yeah, so he's going to have a very difficult time finding out what Polt's doing, especially because Polt has chosen that starport, and a Viking is quite likely here. He's also got the second gas, so he is going to be doing some type of two-base play. Not rushing the third command center, not playing super economy focus. He is going to try to hurt HyuN in the early game.
Well, from there on out, Leia actually morphs in pretty quickly here. No Zergling speed even started during all of this. So what are the options that HyuN has from this position with just a little bit of gas extra being taken here?
Something that's very popular right now, especially on these new maps, is it's kind of hard to take a third base. Two-base Spire is, as they say, all the rage.
Very much so. Very much so. It's a scary thing to go up against as well if you're playing this kind of style that Polt does.
Yeah.
Actually going for Cloak to actually have a few Banshees to get in there.
But he hasn't chosen the two-base Spire here. Notice how he's used the Evolution Chamber to get a +1 attack and then thrown a Roach Wand quite shortly after the layer's begun. Roach speed, +1 attack, HyuN's sticking to his style, and we know he loves the roaches, and we are going to see them in this game.
Yeah, so let's see what he's going to be able to do with this. If he actually uses this as, aggressively, if he's getting the layers just so he can get roach speed very fast. Banshees are a great tool to be able to deal with that a little better if he's able to
Absolutely.
spot it.
The Reaper's slowing down the third from being built, which means he's hurting his production, and Banshees are awesome against roaches, naturally, as long as he has at least more than one.
I'm surprised that Reaper actually went down there to that Queen. Very slow off the creep, but did manage to pick up the kill. So nicely done there by HyuN to get that, and even completing the wall off. So the Hellions won't have much room to do too much. It's very unlikely any drones are going to be killed at the third because it's not done for a little while.
The style that HyuN has chosen, very aggressive, very strong in the next 5 or so minutes, but it becomes weaker the longer the game goes. Polt has yet to identify what he's playing against. This is actually very important for this game.
Yeah, and the way the Banshees are actually assaulting now over at this third location, yes, they're doing quite good, actually, getting Queen already, gonna get some of these lings because he kind of forgoes the idea of speed, but the roaches are now here, and the plans not fully revealed. Of course, the roaches are here, and it's like very obvious that, you know, he's pushing away the roaches, but there's going to be a lot of roaches coming along soon. Yeah,
shortly. He saw Zerglings with no speed and quite a few roaches out already. That may be a tip for him to start to prepare for this. He's already started Marauder production. Obviously very good against roaches.
Yeah, so he should be able to hunker down very, very well back at home, as long as he's, you know, got a few bunkers, etc.
But he's got to slow the game down. There's no way he's taking a third command center anytime soon. He's got to be careful of an attack, careful that he gets attacked, and if he moves out into taking his third base, that's when he'll get swished in between the second and third.
Double engineering base wearing away now with that 1-1 production. It's just roach. Opening up the supply lines as well, even more with overlords.
Very low drone count and very high roach count.
Yeah, there's a bunker, but might even need a few more than that.
I don't think he's got enough defense.
Yeah, it's going to be scary. There's a tank on the way now, but is it too late, Sean?
I think it is. There's only, 2 Marauders. He's going to have to pull SCVs. SCVs will be lost in this attack. There's so many of them.
Yeah, he's actually splitting up his roaches as well. He's working on the back rocks, and if the bunkers and defense are all at the front, then this is going to be hard. But if he had a good force back behind this, then he could have established a good concave.
Well, he's going to have a tank in the middle of his base, which is going to be useful, as long as he can protect it.
Yeah, he's going to have to chip away at the edges. Those 4 roaches at the natural, though, working out very, very nicely to be able to push away at this. And even going to work on a command center whilst that's happening as well. One Marauder in that bunker helps out a lot and picks up.
Yeah, this is so far so good, but the tank has to be hunted down.
Yeah, it does. So there's a few more roaches on the way, though. There's actually so many roaches, 26 on the map right now. Also killing off workers in the natural. The tank has fallen, the Marauders are going to fall. Perfect play out by HyuN. Really, really catching Polt off guard.
Great strategy choice on a map that has 2 entrances to the second and main base of the Terran player. Polt was not prepared for this. He probably hasn't played against this either because they don't play in the same region, they don't play ladder, they don't play custom games together, and he was completely caught off guard.
There you go, GG. Game number 1 goes to HyuN.